Hey everybody, it's Kate Richburg. Sorry about that little glitch that we had earlier with our streaming camera, but I think we're all set. Well, welcome to Free Tip Friday. If it's Friday, it must be Free Tip Friday here at beadshop.com. So let's chat a little bit about what we're going to be doing today. Let me make sure that I can see all of you on my social media so I can see everybody's comments. Looks like you're jumping on, so again, sorry for that false start we had there just briefly, but there we go. I see everybody's coming on. I need to make sure that my volume is all the way down and we are good to go. Let me pull this up. Okay, I see everyone jumping in. Great, everyone's here. It's great to see you all. It looks like we've got Gita commenting and saying hello as beadshop.com. Wonderful, Gita. Thank you as always, Gita, for linking and being there on the other side of the world in lovely Denmark. So thank you, thank you. It's great to see everyone. Let's see, everyone's jumping on, jumping in. Brandon, thankfully, is adjusting the light a little bit. I thought I had it pretty well done, but it looks like we need a little more light adjustment so you guys can see me because I'm kind of bright. Is that better? Well, that's what we're going to go with.
Because you're going to go down.
Yeah, I'm going to go down soon anyway, so yes. Well, it's great to see everyone. It looks like Janice has jumped on as well. Great. Hello, Janice. It's great to have everybody here. Oh, and thanks for my earrings. These are actually little earrings I made. I make some beads out of wheat pennies, so these are little wheat penny bead earrings. It's kind of fun. So I'm really excited to share a little more looming and stuff with you today, and I'm going to show you what I've been working on in just a few. But I can't decide if I want my glasses on or my glasses off. Maybe I'll put them on. I don't know. Better to see you guys through the camera with. So let me talk a little bit about a couple of things that I wanted to bring up before we jumped into our project. You know, I wanted to mention a little bit about contacting Bead Shop. You know, we have lots of different ways that you can contact us here at beadshop.com. But the fastest way is to jump in and either email our customer service, or what we like to call our customer happiness team, which is our DRIA. You can email us at info@beadshop.com with any questions. You can also, on our website, our phone number, our office phone number is here as well. But you can always dial the number and leave us a message. Sometimes we're super busy filling orders that our phone goes to the message machine, but rest assured that we listen to your messages and we get back to them as quickly as we can. But if you want a super quick response, info@beadshop is a great way to email us, and you can always reach out to me, Kate at Beadshop, or Janice would love to hear from you at Janice at Beadshop. We really count on you guys to be our ambassadors and to really have a voice in what we do here at Beadshop. So we love to hear from you. So don't hesitate to reach out via email or leave us a phone message, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. But I just wanted to throw that in there and say, hey, we love hearing from you. Don't hesitate to reach out. So that's my little service message of the day, because we like to chat with you. We like to hear from you, so it's great. Thank you about the brooch. Someone commented about the brooch here. This is I'm still rocking stuff from Emily's bead embroidery episode. This is the Free Tip Friday that I did last week, my little take on that. So don't hesitate to jump in and try this one as well. It's really fun. And if you want to start out with something smaller, some of our buttons make great centerpieces for these. Drea did a great job with the episode notes on it, so you can go right to our beadshop.com website, go to Facebook Live projects, and you'll see these projects here, the bead embroidery, and you'll see the episode notes for those. So that's the story. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And thank you guys so much for the love for our customer service. So thank you. We really try and be prompt and fast. But I just wanted to put it out there that don't hesitate to reach out anytime, because we're here because you're here, and we really, really appreciate that. So on that note, I'm here because you're here, and we're all here to do a project. So let me turn the camera around and let's take a look at what I'm going to be talking about today. Okay? Let me do that. And you know what? I'm gonna actually holler out to someone here at Bead Shop. Hey Karen, could I ask you a quick favor? Would you bring me my loomed piece from Wednesday? I didn't grab it, of course, because it's Free Tip Friday, and you know what I do. Kara's laughing. She knows that Kate always isn't prepared for Free Tip Friday. That's the one. That's what I... Oh, I'll take them both. You're the best. Thanks, Karen. I'm taking our Karen away from making beautiful things on our website to bring me the loomed piece. Thank you, Karen. She's the best. The best. Everyone's saying hi to you, Karen. And Karen's saying hi to everyone back. Karen's the one who makes our web look so amazing, our webmaster. She is so good. And, yep, Karen does rule. And, Kara, you're getting some shout-out. Everybody's saying hello to everyone. That's great. We're all one big happy beading family right here. So, if you guys remember from Wednesday, this was the loomed piece that I did on Wednesday. And we talked about using the surfer cord, and we talked about looming with it. We talked about closing it up with this cool little suede pieces on the end. And I have been thinking about kind of pushing that jewel loom even further. And so can you see, let me push this over a little bit so you can see. I wanted to use, since the surfer cord was so inspiring on the loom, I wanted to jump in with leather. And can you see that leather right there? Let me show you this other piece. This is the one that I was doing on air. And it has the surfer cord around the ends. And when I was looming this and weaving this on air, the spark of an idea was born. And I thought, well, instead of mixing the KO with the weft with the surfer cord, what if I did the weft with all leather? And so, last night, as I was sitting down watching a show with my husband, because you know you can't watch a TV show and not keep your hands busy. At least I can't. So I got some leather and I warped up the jewel loom. Okay, so what I used, and let me start from the beginning here. I'm going to push this over. I'm going to grab the jewel loom. Here's the jewel loom here, just one that is unwarped. Whoops, sorry Myra, I just hit Myra while she's filling your order with my elbow. Sorry, Myra. Office life still goes on at the bead shop offices while I'm doing Free Tip Friday, so we're all together in this. I'm going to put the little center in the jewel loom. You guys have seen me do this about 1,000,000 times, so I'm a little, maybe I'll raise this up a little bit so you guys can see a little bit more. There we go. A little bit better of a view there. Brandwin, of course, is running in from doing orders and taking some photos because that's what she does. Here I am, right? You can see the setup. We'll put that up there. There I am doing the setup. I'll post it. You guys can see it. Okay. I know, don't mess with Myra. I know, Donna. I promise not to mess with Myra because she's probably filling your order right now. It's really true. So, she is. That's right. So we've got the 0.5 millimeter leather. Now, you could use a lot of different sizes if you wanted. This is some of our new 0.5 millimeter leather cord. This is the distressed gray. You could use the surfer cord in 0.5 or 1 millimeter as well. You could even, I haven't tried it with 1.5 or 2 millimeter, but you know, you could try it out and see what works for you. But I wanted a leather that was skinny, so I went with the 0.5. We don't have 0.5 in everything, but we're carrying it more and more in different colors, and distressed gray is kind of my jam, so I love it. Oh, it's great to have everybody here for your first live episode. That's great. Welcome, Rosie. It's great to have you. So just as a quick reminder, you warp this loom just like you would with any other material. The thing about the leather, though, you guys, is it may have like an unhidden flaw or an unseen flaw. Hidden flaw, I guess is what I'm trying to say, or unseen flaw. So when you pull it tight, it may break. If it does, it's just meant to be, and you just untie it and you go down a little bit further and tie it on. I always kind of check the leather and stretch it a little bit before I warp the loom with it, just to make sure there's no little, you know, glitch in the leather that's going to cause everything to not work as it should. But this is looking like it is holding up just fine. Okay. And Lynn, it's a great question. The Greek leather, Lynn's asking if the Greek leather comes in 0.5. It doesn't, to my knowledge. I think the smallest that we carry it in is the 1 millimeter. But you could do this with 1. But I loved, see how this 0.5 millimeter just nestles. See that? Just nestles right in there. I just think it's so good. So now I'm going to come in, just like I warped it on Wednesday. I come in, I flip, I wrap it around the button, I come in, I skip one, because I'm going to loom. You guys may have noticed the cut cubes, the hematite cut cubes I'm going to use. If you haven't checked those out, they're quickly becoming as beloved to me as my shadow beads, right? I really, really like them. I warped this loom with 4 warps for 3 rows of looming. But I could get crazy and keep going and loop a little bit further since this is a little longer. That's 4 channels, and maybe I'll go with 5 channels just for fun. Now you're going to see when I actually stitch with this looming, I know you're going to say, hey, what, you know, how is this looming actually going to work with this leather? And it's actually, you guys, kind of a looming and stitching hybrid that I'm going to show you. Okay, so just bear with me here. So here I'm going to knot it off. I take those 2 ends and I just tie it in a square knot. Terry Lynch, you're asking, Terry, do you have faux leather or anything else I can use? I'm vegan. Yes, Terry, we listened to all of our vegan beaders, and we have a product on beadshop.com called Surfer Cord, and that's what I used earlier. That's what I used on this guy. And this surfer cord here, this is the 1 millimeter. We also carry it in the 0.5. You guys loved it so much that you just wiped us out really quick. But we have another order coming, and we promise we will have the surfer cord in a steady stream coming right down the pike for you guys. So it's really great. It is not waxed or coated in any way, so it's 100% vegan. It's great. So I hope you like it. It comes in some great colors. So now, as usual with the jewel loom, see how it's warped pretty well. The tension is pretty good. But the beauty of this jewel loom that was designed by my friend Juliana, or Jules as she's known, she made it so that it's perfectly tensioned, right? I take out that little tensioning bar and look at what I've got here. A really good tension. And you can see on the back, it's just ready to go here. So you don't waste a lot of cord going across the back. Okay, so that's ready to go. Now, the beads that I've used, let's talk about the cut cubes for a second. Okay, now the cut cubes, this we have so many colors of the cut cubes. We just added some new colors to our color selection. And we just got the rose gold hematite back in case you guys have been waiting for it. We just got it back in stock. But what these guys are is it's a 2mm cube that's very similar to our shadow bead, my beloved shadow, except they're super regular and super smooth. Look at this one. Look at this. This one's the iris cut cube, isn't it? I just love this one's metallic iris. That's this one here. I just think it's really, really cool. But they fit together. Let me lay them out here. They fit together, and to me, they just screamed looming. Because when Janice sent them over, she had created this kind of little loomed project that features them, and I was just really taken with it. I thought they looked great. Yeah, Ginger, it's hard to tell in a photo. You know, I posted that photo of the two in the bead table group with the cut cubes and the little shadows next to each other. The little shadows are just rougher because they're metal. These are just smoother because they're stone. Oh, and Terry, thanks for sharing the tutorial. You know, we really appreciate it when you're watching this live, even if you're watching us not live and you're watching this on Facebook, that you share it with your bead friends. We really, 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 really appreciate that. And the cubes are a 2mm cube. And you can see here with the hole, let's look at the hole size on this. Let me grab my awl. Okay, the awl, you can see, really handy dandy little tool here. You can see how, let me face it up towards you guys, it's hard to see. Let me get a little tighter in there. The hole size, if I kind of pull it up on the awl, the hole size is giant on this, okay? And that's why it makes it so beautiful to loom with, all right? This dark blue one, Gwenda, is the matte metallic blue. That's this color right here, the matte metallic blue. I think it's your color, Mom. I know you love it. I know you do. I love it too. And what I loved about this piece that Janice did was it really showed kind of the beautiful progression that you could do with a loomed piece. The thing with this, though, that I feel is really being successful now that I'm looming with the leather is it gives these, I was going to call them shadows, these cut cubes really room to shine. And let me show you. Let me pull in the piece that I've been working on. And let me get a little tighter in here so you guys can see it. See how there's space now, or what we like to say, what we like to call air, in between the rows of the cubes. So you really see the shape of the cube, and I can tell already that I've got a lot of movement in this piece, not unlike my loomed piece that I did on Facebook Live on Wednesday, the one we call Sprinkles, because it looks like cupcake sprinkles, these colors, right? So let me talk to you a little bit about the stitching. I just did 4 rows, 4 warps, so I had 3 rows, and I have one kind of going on here. Let me just lock this down, and then let me show you what I'm doing here. Let me walk you through it. The needle that I'm using on this piece is I'm using Emily's Beloved Sharps needles. I'm using the Sharps because, like Emily needed, I needed a needle that had a little more oomph behind it, or that wasn't so bendy, okay, or pliable. And the Sharp size 10 really, really work nicely for the beading. So let me show you how this is really kind of a bead embroidery, kind of bead weaving hybrid. So I'm going to lock this down. The thread that I'm using, you guys, you could use 2 different threads. I have charcoal in 2 types of thread. This is Superlon D right here in charcoal, or I'm also using the Micro Ceylon also in charcoal. Now you can use any color you want, doesn't matter, but these are the two that I chose, right? The size 10 Sharps needle has a tiny, see if I can get one out of here, has a tiny little hole. So when you're stringing the Micro Ceylon onto it, it could give you just a slight bit of sass. So you have to keep it up, kind of really keep at it, but you'll get it. And I'll show you how I'm gonna, like Emily says, needle the thread and not thread the needle. I'm gonna cut a piece here, and I'm going to really wax the end of this Micro Ceylon. Wax it, to keep it all together, to keep the ends from fraying apart, so that when let me see if I can do this, when I needle this thread, yes, look at that. The needle gods are with me today. It goes right through. Okay. You can also use, Ceylon D. Sorry, Janice. That's what I made myself a note even right here. It's Ceylon D, not Superlon, but it's similar, and it's a little bit thinner than the Micro. I'm so sorry that I misspoke on that, but it is the Ceylon D. I was talking with someone actually earlier this morning about Superlon, so that's why I had it in my head, I think. Sorry about that. I even have it right here in my notes. What are you going to do? Takes a team. I'm going to use that Superlon D, and I'm going to also needle the thread, and whoops, I said needle the thread. It's a thinner thread. I shouldn't have trouble with it. There we go. Not thread the needle. There we go. So both of these will work for looming. The Micro is just slightly, let me see if I can get a clear shot for you guys. The Micro is just slightly heavier. I know it's so hard to see on camera. Let me get a little tighter so you can see it. You can see here's the Micro on this side, and here is the Superlon, or the Ceylon D on this side. They would both work, and I think they'd both work really, really well. Lynn is asking how about Fireline or Tough Cord for this? Sure, you could also use those. Fireline I would use doubled, probably. And I think Tough Cord I'd probably use Tough One to see if it would work. I haven't tried it yet, but you can certainly experiment with it. So let me show you why I use these cords. I wanted cords that were a little thicker because of the way I was stitching this project. This project, like we said earlier, it's using the 0.5 millimeter leather cord. So I wanted something that was a little heavier, that kind of stood up visually as well as physically to this piece. So this is the way I stitch it. Let me get a little tighter. Okay, so you can see it a little closer. With my pattern, I have the copper hematite on the outside, the matte copper hematite, the matte silver, and then a matte copper. Okay, there's my my row of beads, and I just slip it underneath. I'm going to turn my loom around. That's what I love also about the jewel loom, that it's really portable and easy to flip. Now, with my finger, I push those cut cubes up and under my looming. Okay, I get real tight there. Now, this is where kind of the bead embroidery part comes in. If I try to, like regular looming, shove my needle under all three of these all at the same time, it's hard to do, okay? It's kind of, I nick the thread or the leather and stuff like that. It can be done, and I have been doing it, but all I do is I stitch through, to make it easier, I stitch through one bead at a time. I go through the first cube, stitch through, I go through the second cube and stitch through, and through the third cube and stitch through. Bam. I give it a little tug to make sure everything's tight, and I pull it around. Now I'm ready for my next row. Okay. Janice is giving good advice here. If we want to use a heavier cord, you might have to go to the big eye needle. The beads have a large enough holes to fit tough cord number 2, and that is great. The thing is, if you're stitching these beads like I'm doing, the big eye needle may not be as easy to stitch with. So I might stick with the smaller threads if you can. But you know what? It's all about experimentation, right? So here's this, and I'm going to go right through my cut cubes again. Here's my needle. I'm going to stitch through once, and stitch again, and through. I find that this stitching, I can really progress pretty fast. It's almost easier than trying to shove my needle through all 3 beads at the same time. Let me needle 3 more beads here. These cut cubes, these 2mm cut cubes, as I said, we carry them in a bunch of different flavors and finishes, and we're going to be adding even more. I just really think that this kind of bead weaving, bead embroidery kind of hybrid really works well. Yeah, the smallest of the big eye needles, Janice, I agree. I think that small big eye needle might do it. I agree with that. That's what I was thinking in my head. But again, experiment, experiment, experiment. Be the master or mistress of your own bead destiny, right? I think that made the filling room crack up. I don't know. Maybe it didn't. Ginger's asking me, is that needle sharp? Yes, it is pointy sharp, like that. So you can really get in there in a small space, Ginger, like this. I haven't been watching to make sure that I'm in view, so I'm sorry if I've gone out of view at all. It's real sharp, so it comes right through. So that tapered needle point. So if you're used to like sewing or stitching on a button or hand quilting or any of those kind of needle arts, it's kind of, you know, familiar to you. Your muscle memory is there already for that. Whoops, I've run out of, I seem to have been stitching so quickly that I've run out of my copper beads, which I think are sitting here in this bead pile. There they are. Let me grab a few more. Nope, that's the shiny one. I didn't know I was going to go through so many. I know one is cut here somewhere. Do I see it anywhere? There it is. I placed it right here. I'm sorry, you guys. What happened to my beads? There they are. Lynn, I think that's a great idea. Doing the bracelet with the 1.5mm on the outside and the 0.5mm on the inside. And I think the one that I warped with the 5 channels, I think that would look really cool, more of these lined up together. I really think that it's a great, it's a really great technique to do. So, Lisa has a good question. What's the difference between like looming and bead weaving? I call like bead weaving or bead embroidery anything that you do kind of freehand, right? That you wouldn't have a structure under, like the piece that I'm wearing from the bead embroidery show. This bead embroidery, I would call this like bead weaving or bead embroidery, because this is all off loom and kind of what I'd say freehand, right? But looming is, well, looming, using some kind of a loom to hold your work in place. So I'm kind of stitching while I'm looming, so that's why I call this kind of a hybrid. And yes, Manny, I think that the surfer cord would work beautifully on this instead of leather. And again, we promise that surfer cord is coming, but it's just, it's making its way towards us, and we promise to keep it in stock for you guys. I'm sorry about the wait. We didn't know that you'd love it as much as we did, but we're getting it back in. So see how naturally when you're looming, you just want to shove that needle through, but with this leather, it's hard to get it through all the way like this. And as I push it through, I find that it's a little difficult to pull the needle out like this. So if I was looming, I'd have to, you know, maybe use my plier or something to pull the needle out. So that's why doing this quick stitch, as if I were doing a freehand, really makes it fly. The surfer cord is visually a little heavier. It's a little bit thicker, but not much. You can see, if you watch Wednesday's show, Wednesday's Facebook Live, you can see how I use the surfer cord on the ends. So it works really, really nice. And this piece definitely is a bit stiffer and a bit more sturdy, I guess, because it has leather running all the way through it. Kind of like if you're familiar with our project online called West County Cuff. That's a good one that we need to revisit. It was an original design we have on our website by Brittany from back in the day, and it kind of feels has this feel to it as well, but you don't do it on a loom. You do it, I believe you do it more like a wrap bracelet. I actually have to watch the video and get familiar with it, but it's such a great project. But see how quickly I am stitching through this. Okay, let me do one more row, and then we're going to talk about the closure and about how we'd finish this off. I want to show you how I weave in the ends, because I do something a little different from kind of regular bead weaving when I weave in the ends of this. And since I'm running out of thread, it's the perfect time to weave in. And Janice just said it is done wrap bracelet style. I really love the West County. I need to get familiar and make one of those. It's so great. All right, one more row, one more, and then we'll close this off. Again, these 2 millimeters, the 2 millimeter cut cubes, they have such a nice, generous hole that you don't have any trouble with this micro seal-on and with the seal-on D. Eileen is saying that she's used Chinese knotting cord 0.5 and for looming, and it gives it a nice texture. I would definitely agree on Chinese knotting cord. You could definitely use it for the warps. You could use the 0.5, the 0.4 millimeter, and even up to the 0.8 I think would work just fine. Let's take a gander and see what length. I'm at about 5 inches here for the cuff, and this cuff that I made on Free Tip or on Facebook Live was a little longer. It was ended up at about 7 1/4. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how I'd finish this off. The beautiful thing about a piece like this is you can make this suede end longer or shorter depending on how long or short your loomed piece is, how much suede you want showing, so it's really adaptable to what you're using. Okay, so to weave this back in, let's say that I wanted to just end this piece, or if I needed to add more beads, you know, or more thread to continue to loom, I'm going to actually put a needle on this end because I left this out here so you guys could see that. So let me go ahead and needle this thread. I'm going to wax that end just like I did before. Grab one of the needles that I strung on this Super Lawn D. Got so much thread here. It's a big rat's nest over there. Yeah, I'll have to put West County on for a Facebook Live. I'm going to really have to make one and really get familiar with all of the techniques with it. But I really do think it's stunning. I just love it. See how my thread split a little bit as I was trying to needle the thread? So I'm going to re-wax. Maybe I'll give it a nice blunt cut. There we go. Nice blunt cut. And just needle that thread. I'm the boss of this thread, you guys. Yes, I am. There it went. Perfect. Okay. So, to weave this off, okay, I'm just going to come back and I'm going to, let me get in tight so you guys can really see what I'm doing, okay? So, I'm going to come in, and where I've ended my thread, it's coming right out from this cut cube. I'm going to pop down, not going around the leather on the outside. I'm just popping down to the bead below and pushing the needle through. Okay? Just like so. Now, I'm going to go to the thread above it, or the bead above it, push the needle through, and weave it back. So I've gone to this bead and this bead. I'm also pulling the thread pretty tight, so it really blends in the side. It's really invisible. It's hard to really see. Okay? So now maybe I'll go through this one, stitch. Now maybe I'll go to the center, stitch through this one. Whoops. I said go to the center. There you go. Stitch through that one. And maybe I'll go now through the center one more time. So I'm just weaving through bead by bead. And maybe I'll stop right there at that guy. I like stopping in the middle. I'm going to get my thread snips. Get them real tight so you can see me. I'm going to get my thread snips. I'm going to pull on this thread, trying not to clip anything else, and snipping that thread away. Now you can see I've got a nice end that's ready to, if I wanted to make it longer here, I could weave it back, you know, weave thread back in, and then start looming again. It's really easy to add and take away thread. Now, on Wednesday, what I did was also, I did a little, what we call our weft weaving, where underneath this I wove back and forth with the tail of the thread to create a little weft there of thread, so that the suede, when I glue it down, has something to hang on to. But honestly, for this one, I don't think you need that. The leather cord, the 5mm leather cord here, 0.5mm, is so heavy that when I come in to eventually glue my cord, my ultra suede in place, there's going to be plenty for it to hang on to. So that's just how I'm going to finish it. I'm going to go ahead, and I think this Bordeaux looks really great with this bead selection. And also for the button, I've chosen our silver courtesan button, which I think will look really, really nice with this. And the way that I do that, and I'm not going to glue it here on air today because our Wednesday Facebook Live broadcast on Spring Surprise really, really shows in detail how I do it. And it's towards the end of the broadcast. You can kind of fast forward through it, and after episode notes are posted on Monday, that'll be time-stamped, so you can go right to it. But it's really, really simple. The ends, the outside ends of the loomed piece, I just sent underneath the suede, and then I had 2 little clip notches here that I pulled them out with, and then that cord goes right around my button. And that button, what I do is I stitch that button right here to the ultra suede before I cut it and use it. So there's no, when I turn it over, there's no stitching on the other side. Okay. You know, you could, if you felt like you really wanted that warp, the weaving here at the end, you could totally do that as well. But I'm going to test it out to see how it holds for me. Because, you know, as you know, Free Tip Friday is all about testing and experimenting. So I'm going to experiment it that way. So that really is it. One of the metal clasps. You certainly could, Sharon, if you had a glue-in clasp like our Cool Luke might work on this. Because this is, yeah, across. This is just under an inch. It's about 1, 2, 3/8 of an inch across. So it certainly would work, and you could just glue that right in. You could also braid these 4 together. I thought about bringing these together and macrameing the ends. There's so many ways that you could finish off the ends of these, right? Again, you could silk wrap, you could do so many different closures, and I look forward to seeing what you guys create and experiment with. But I wanted to show you how fun it was to add leather to the jewel loom. And notice, last night I did want to point out one thing. When I was working this last night, I had warped my loom, and you can see that the leather really held with the tension like this. Today, as I'm working with it more and more, the leather seems to be stretching a little bit. So you can see where my loom was really bowed up before, now it's kind of stretched out like this. I don't think it's hurt the leather at all. The leather seems really sturdy and good, and it might be a good thing that this is stretching on this loom, because it's taken a lot of the stretch out of the leather, so that the bracelet might not stretch as much when you're wearing it. So I'm really confident that it still has a lot of integrity in the leather itself. So that's it. I'm going to turn this guy around here, and we'll wrap this up. Let me turn you guys. Let me see here, and I'm going to flip the camera around. Little flipping action. There we go. Alrighty. Let me tighten this up so we're all set. Okay. There we go. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. Let me check Cindy, I did use the metal bar. Let me answer that question, because some of you may have this question as well. Let me see, I'll put it up here by my face so you can see it. When you warp the jewel loom, you put the metal bar inside so it pulls everything tight. Then, to get the tension exactly right, you actually remove the bar so that when you're looming, the bar is out of the loom, and it gives you an automatic tension because the loom kind of splays out a little bit. So that's part of the genius of this jewel loom. Okay. And my mom is asking me if I knit that sweater. No, I didn't. But thanks, Ma, thinking that I could. You know that I never finish my knitting projects, or at least I try, except for the socks I made you. Anyways, have a great creative weekend, you guys. We are really excited to share next week's Facebook Live with you. We have an all-new prairie project with some new stitches that I'm excited about. We have 3 yummy colorways for that. Make sure you check your newsletters this weekend. We've got a brand new project, 2 of them that are debuting, that were shared on our Facebook Live, the Bead Table group, our Facebook group. They are in our Farmers Market projects, and they are exquisite. I think you're going to love seeing those. So that's it. Let me make sure I don't have any final questions. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. And if you do make something with this technique, please don't hesitate to email it in or post it on the group, because we would love to see them. Thank you, Sherry. We love that you love our new beads, and don't worry, we're not going anywhere, so you'll be able to buy your new beads whenever you want to. We really appreciate it. And don't forget, you can watch all of the episodes if you're brand new to Facebook Live from beadshop.com. You can see it all on our YouTube channel, our beadshop.com YouTube channel. You can go to our Facebook page and see them there. And of course, you can find all of the supplies and the videos on our website at beadshop.com. Have a fantastic weekend, my dears, and we'll see you next week for Facebook Live on Wednesday with Emily. All right, talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.